Hey, so in light of recent news, Capcom has confirmed that they are at works making even more remakes for the Resident Evil franchise. I contemplated, as a huge fan, what exactly would I want from a new Resident Evil game. I love this series. Even if I've only played RE1 Remaster up until Resident Evil Village, I've been quite invested into the franchise, freeing up time to play the other games in the series and constantly on the lookout for news regarding the next entry. One thing I always admire about Resident Evil is how much the gameplay core slightly to greatly changes from title to title. It's a double-edged sword, of course, because some fans may only like the gameplay mechanics of one game over another. For example, Resident Evil 1 Remaster had a unique style, from varying sets of camera angles, a claustrophobic environment, and a stronger emphasis on horror. Resident Evil 2, besides the glaringly obvious differences such as the camera angle shift and the graphic enhancements, are quite similar in their approach to being confined in an enclosed, singular building for most part, and the loop of running back and forth from room to room finding different pieces of items to solve the next puzzle or goal. The more enclosed setting makes you feel trapped and constantly cornered. A stronger emphasis on resource management and limited inventory space forces you to regulate the items you're gonna carry with you unless you want to painstakingly go all the way back to a safe room, risking potential encounters with zombies and other freaks. Another potent aspect of this game is the main threat, the zombies. Compared to the other entries into the series, RE1 and RE2 zombies are more terrifying and dangerous. They often aren't even worth shooting because they soak up bullets like a sponge, and not to mention, RE1 zombies don't just die to bullets, except if you blow their heads off, which is hard to do. I don't think it's coming back. RE1 zombies will come back to life unless you soak them with fuel and light them up, which means more inventory space being filled and more items to ration. Not to say the rest of the series didn't follow this formula of ammunition management or horror, but they were definitely diluted. However, I don't really hate that, because yes, RE1 and RE2 are my favorite entries to the franchise, but I believe the other attempts give a new fun way of also experiencing Resident Evil. Examples are the new takes on the first-person perspective such as RE7 and RE8, or the more bold and action-packed approach that RE3 and RE4 took. I would mention RE5 and 6, but we don't talk about those dark times. Each game has its own charm, and I really do like that it has something for everyone. However, after finishing Resident Evil 8 DLC Shadow of Rose, I began contemplating what I wanted the next Resident Evil game to be. I have time to finish the other RE games such as Code Veronica or Resident Evil 0, but I can't help but wonder what's the next game they're gonna make that isn't just a remake. What would I want from a new Resident Evil game? More of Leon, of course. I'm just half joking, but seriously, what would I want in a new RE game? Obviously, my wants have no serious bearing on what Capcom would do, but a man could dream, right? My dream RE game would be graphically similar to RE1 HD Remaster. I know that the RE games of late have looked fucking phenomenal. Just beautiful pieces of media that makes you stop to admire the view of dead, mutilated bodies and gutted monsters. But I honestly love how RE1 HD Remaster looks. The grey, muted color palettes enhance the horror experience to a significant degree. It felt gritty, gross, and oftentimes disgusting. The weird fidelity of realistic objects made the atmosphere feel ugly, yet perfect for the experience. Obviously, the mainstream appeal for a game to look like that isn't sought after for.
Well, the thing about the old days, they the old days.
This is understandable. Games nowadays constantly break the new levels of graphical barriers we never thought possible. However, as much as I do enjoy pretty lights and beautiful graphics, I think RE1 HD Remaster's graphic had such a charm and would emit a far more interesting and macabre atmosphere. Secondly, I want the fixed camera angles to return. Yes, please. Oftentimes, Souls players speak that their true enemy is the camera. However, real one know that RE1 fixed camera angles are true evil that plagues this world. The camera angles makes it feel like you're watching Jill or Chris' final moments through a security feed. The odd angles give an almost cinematic shot of the player. It feels engaging and enhances the experience to a significant degree. The inconvenient shots make you feel invulnerable to potential blind spot. It makes movement feel awkward and hard to handle sometimes, especially when you're stressed out by being chased by zombies. It makes the game increasingly uncomfortable and I fucking love it. Waiter, more please. What about the gameplay? Well, besides me wanting the gameplay to be similar to the RE1 gunplay, I would love it if it emphasized more on puzzles and hiding. My favorite part of RE8 Village was when we got stuck inside the dollmaker's home, just cool puzzles. However, my favorite part was when the lights went off and you were being chased by a giant sludge baby. It was fucking freaky as fuck. Definitely a reference to PT, but what made me love it was when you had to hide from it inside a cabinet. It reminded me of Outlast 1 where you would often hide in lockers or hide under beds to avoid threats that were chasing you. The short scene where you hid inside the locker while the sludge baby searched around trying to find you, all while making the freakiest sounds, was the peak of Village. Quick tangent, but Outlast 1 was far superior to Outlast 2. Outlast 2 continues the paradigm of the sequel being more bold, daring, and having higher production budget. However, it fails severely to engage a core audience the first part gained. Oftentimes in Outlast 2, I just ran around and juking enemies with no fear. Well, maybe some fear.
Oh my god.
You walked into that one.
He walked into the house with the murderer and I locked the door. Anyway, more hiding from fucked up shit, more emphasis on intense encounters with zombies, and a lot of running around solving puzzles would be perfect gameplay for the atmosphere I want. Fourth wish on the wishlist is to make zombies as tanky as ever and ammunition as low as ever. I love the feeling of helplessness as I empty an entire magazine into just one zombie for it to fall over, and after a while, it will eventually come back up unless I dispose of it through fire or stomping on it. One of my favorite moments when I was playing RE2 was when I was trying to shoot down a zombie in the head. I missed a single bullet. I audibly granted, "Fuck," and at that moment, I came to appreciate how RE really emphasizes the importance of every shot you took. Bullet scarcity makes this game just feel much more captivating. I love the cool, mutated monster in the RE franchise. I think its iconic amalgamations of flesh have been a staple of the series. What in God's name? However, I do want the game to return to emphasizing just the normal threat of zombies more, but it doesn't mean I don't want any mutants in the game, but ones more relative for the vibe I'm going for. Not to say those aren't fun bosses, it's just that doesn't fit the motif we're going for. Also, do you guys remember fighting Heisenberg's final form in Resident Evil Village? Him calling Chris a boulder punching asshole? Does that mean Chris punching a boulder is universally spoken about? Like, did Chris just start bragging to his colleagues that he punched a boulder to submission and eventually became widely known fact that people years later still remember? Dope. This is why everyone loves Chris. The unique monsters I do want in the game, apart from regular tanky zombies, have to fit the motif of horror we're going for. Something anxiety-inducing and intense. Less, I'm a huge monster that does a lot of damage, and more of I am just a terrifying presence and you would prefer to run or hide from me. A new variety of Mr. X from RE2 would be fantastic. I preferred Mr. X over Nemesis from RE3 Raccoon City due to the fact there is just more ominous feeling you get from Mr. X. Instead of the obvious threat who is the Nemesis, Mr. X just walks menacingly towards you at a rather quick pace. It fills you with anxiety on what he would do if he does catch you. The massive steps he takes and the sound that reverberates from them make RE2 an intense experience. You'll be clearing a locker room door. Just out of nowhere, a loud impeding set of footsteps are coming towards you, so you jolt away hoping you don't corner yourself. The fear of being caught and the simplicity of the approach Mr. X present in RE2 makes him a horrifying antagonist. Instead of the obvious heavy hitters that are contained in one area to set the boss appearance, why not have an immortal force that constantly haunts your game? The tension throughout the game would never die down. Another enemy I would love in the game is the mannequins from Rose DLC of RE8. Basically, you lose line of sight of these guys and they immediately try to catch up to you and kill you. I fucking love that concept. I know it isn't new and SCP did it first, and there is a monster in the recent hit game Lethal Company that does the same. But the concept rocks. The entire sequence was horrendous, as more and more of them compiled, and the sounds of their legs moving increased the unnerving effects. Lastly, who would I want to be the main character for this game? I don't really care if it's just a new character we haven't played as yet, but I demand Shiva from RE5. Yes, RE5 wasn't the best game, but I loved Shiva and need her in the new game, please Capcom. Okay, unpopular opinion, but I do kinda want the entire door opening animation again from RE1.
Say that again?
I know, it was tedious and got frustrating after an hour, but hear me out. The door opening animation and the sound it made were spine chilling, and it made opening every door just more eerie. Call me a masochist, but I love the door cutscene that played every single time you open the door. Really fits the feeling of RE1. Look, okay, maybe put a setting that turns it off, but in my opinion, I want it back. Anyway, that's basically what my dream RE game would look like. Basically Resident Evil 1. Look, all I'm saying is, Capcom, please, make another RE1 style game, please. Please, I'm begging.
My stepper gon' brush him if I press the button, he drippy the scuff.